As a landscape photographer, I am blessed to live in the UK. We have some of the most beautiful and varied landscapes in the world. But we're a small country with a population of close to 70 million. And sometimes it can feel difficult to find places that feel truly wild, places that offer solitude, places without roads, busy car parks, 5G, and Instagrammers at every viewpoint. But these wild places, they do exist, and today I'm going to arguably the UK's most wild and remote location, St Kilda. St Kilda is Scotland's most remote island. It's a World Heritage Site and it lies 40 miles west of the already incredibly remote North Uist. My journey begins from the Isle of Skye, and so far all is still and all is calm. But the calm inshore waters deceive me, and the 4-hour crossing is about to turn into a battle of endurance. So after speaking to the skipper, I was assured that that crossing was a 3 out of 10 in terms of severity, but for me, man, it felt like a 10 out of 10. I was on the edge for that whole crossing. I'm surprised I managed to keep my breakfast down, but we have arrived at St Kilda and I'll be camping. I'm camping for one night. It should have been 2 nights, but we've got bad weather moving in, and I was told you can either leave tomorrow or not at all. I could be here for days or even up to a week, so I decided to take up their offer and get on a boat out of here tomorrow. So yeah, just the one night's camping, but that should give me enough time. I'm excited for the photography and the potential. You can see this place is beautiful, it's remote, it's wild, but how is this for a campsite? Possibly the best campsite I've ever been to. So I've brought a tarp with me because I wanted the extra space. I've got my little backpacking tent here, which is fine, but as soon as you have any kind of luggage, a camera bag, I've got other bags, and because I'm only here for one day, it might seem excessive, but this tarp is going to give me shelter if it rains, and I can leave all of my gear outside of my tent and just basically have an extended living area to make life comfortable for the next 24 hours. So yeah, pretty happy with this. If the wind picks up, I'll drop it down, but yeah, quite a nice luxury, one that I'm not really used to. A luxury indeed, and at just £20 per night, I think it's great value. The campsite is run by the National Trust Scotland, and it has toilets, showers, pot washing facilities, drinking water, and best of all, they limit the capacity to just 5 people at any one time. Unfortunately though, getting to and from the island is not cheap, as you have to book a boat to drop you off and then pick you up. That was £500, so that's 250 quid each way, and the company I used for that was Go to St Kilda. When you book this trip, even if you book in 1 night, 2 nights, whatever, they'll tell you make sure you bring enough provisions for an additional 7 days. That's why I've got so much food, that's why I've got my shelter, and that's because the weather can come in and you can end up being stranded here and they won't be able to come and get you. So that's added expense with all the extra food you've got to bring, and as well as that, the whole thing's a bit of a gamble because you can book it months in advance and then the weather can just roll in and they'll cancel it or postpone it or whatever. So I'm feeling very, very lucky to be here. A little bit lighter in the pocket, but I'm hoping it's going to be worth it because it should be a beautiful experience. All the day trippers will be going home at about 3-4 o'clock, and then I'm pretty much going to have the entire island to myself. That is better. Right, so I've just watched the boat sail away, or motor away. So that's it, I'm here. I'm the only one here. Well, I'm the only one in the campsite anyway. So hopefully we should find some beautiful photography locations and have them all to ourselves, which is selfishly how I like it. So whilst I was coming up the head of the valley, I knew there was going to be a view once I got over the top. But usually you expect a bit of a gradual plateau and then the cliffs in the distance, but I forget how small this island is. I think it's only 4 square miles, so as soon as you're at the top of the hill, there's no messing around, man. Tell you what, you don't want to trip up here, blooming heck. You will be brown bread. Look. That is a big drop down to the sea. That's fantastic. So the cameras that I've brought with me are a Nikon Z7 II with a 24-120 lens and then a 100-400. I think these two are going to come in very handy on this trip. But I've also brought with me my Fuji X-T3, which has been converted to 720 nanometer infrared with a couple of lenses for the Fuji X-T3, which also work on this camera for video. So I think we'll start off by shooting a bit of infrared, because I really want to see how 𝘭𝘪𝘯𝘬𝘴 looks in infrared. At the minute it's quite dark and foreboding, so that'll be interesting to see the difference. But I'll also shoot it on the Z7 II with a black and white conversion, which is what I would do anyway. So I think it's going to be interesting to look at the difference between the two black and white shots. The first one of infrared and the second one just standard visible spectrum. So nothing fancy with this at all. I'm at 35mm, which is quite wide. It's probably the equivalent to 50mm on full frame. And I'm just put the island in the middle of the shot. We have some very textured, interesting clouds. The seas are looking fairly calm, although the boat ride here would tell a different story. It is interesting though, because it's making the green grass on this island look quite bright white. So that's interesting. Alright, now for the Z7 Mark II shot. A bit of an impromptu camera comparison, not my intention. I think I'm just waiting and hoping that later on we get some amazing lights. But let's see how this looks compared to the infrared. Well, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm leaning more towards the infrared image. It seems to pack more of a punch and it really holds the structure and detail in those clouds. And I think what gets me the most is, as an outside viewer, if you were to look at this image, it would have you asking questions because it's not immediately obvious that it's shot in infrared. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Let me know in the comments which you prefer, but more importantly, why? Why do you prefer one over the other, the natural Nikon or the slightly unusual infrared version? anybody that's wondering, does Scotland's most remote island have midges? Of course it does. Why wouldn't it? Okay, so I have reached the highest point on the island, 430 meters. And let me tell you this, it has come just in time. The clag is rolling in, and I anticipate in a few seconds we're gonna lose all visibility. Just my luck. Just my luck that the mist rolls in as I get to the highest viewpoint on the island, and now I can't even see half of the island. Ah, it's frustrating. Man, I can't believe how quickly that just manifested. Like, without any exaggeration, 1 minute I had amazing visibility. I could see for miles. I had a crystal clear view of the island, which you can barely see behind me just there. And then 1 minute, bang, it just rolled in. That's the thing with these parts. It happens in the mainland, and it happens in the Lake District. You know, clear 1 minute, boom, nothing the next. Okay, so let me just give you an idea of where I am, where I've come from. Down in the bay there, that's where I'm camping. And then we have these two hills, one here, one here. I hiked up in between the two hills, which got me to that cliff edge with the beautiful viewpoint of the island. Then I hiked up to the high point, which is here. The mist rolled in, and I've dropped down, and then up to the radar station. And then we have beautiful views all around from here.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't overly excited about shooting this scene in front of me. The light was as flat as a pancake, and as dramatic and as beautiful as this location was, I just felt as if I would be taking a photograph for the sake of taking a photograph, probably for the sake of the video. But with my infrared camera, well, things are completely different as it shows light that I can't see with my naked eye.
Right, so because I'm using the 35mm lens, which is nowhere near wide enough to get this scene, I'm going to go for a pano. The problem I'm finding is any lens that's wider than the 35, I get hot spots. When you shoot infrared on standard lenses, some lenses can give you a bright spot in the middle of your image. And the wide lens that I have, which is actually recording this video right now, that is notorious for hot spots, so it's no good. Alright, make sure I'm at level pegging. There we go. Let's have a look. How is this going to look? Oh yeah, F9. Oh, it looks great. Oh, it looks like St Kilda's been hit with a snowstorm, which is kind of cool. I still wouldn't mind being a bit wider, but the pano should work just fine. So make sure that everything's on manual. I'm at F9. I'm going to focus on the end of this peninsula. And that's it. We'll just take a series of images as we swing around to the right. And yeah, quite excited by this. Definitely feels a little bit more unique, which I like. So it turns out we did a lot of miles today, so I'm going to treat myself to a sticky toffee pudding and a nice whiskey. So if anybody's curious about where I did today, I was tracking it on my phone, so I can show you on this map where I went. I can tell you it was 4.3 miles and 1,500 feet up and 1,500 feet back down. But yeah, I tell you what, that's a beautiful loop, lots of up and down, and actually really tough, like hard walk. But yeah, well worth it. Well, cheers everybody. I'm gonna turn in soon, and we're gonna see what is gonna happen tomorrow morning. Now, I've got to be completely honest with you. I've not got high hopes, and if I wake up and it's like this, completely overcast, I mean, I might give it a miss, because all I was thinking of doing was basically going back to the same location I just was and reshooting that image, but with beautiful morning light on it. That's what I want. And if I'm not going to get that, is there any point in torturing myself with only 4 hours sleep? I'm not sure. So yeah, it's a mystery. Join me in a few seconds, and yeah, we'll see. But yeah, don't be surprised if I have a bit of a lie-in tomorrow. No, never say never. Never say never.
Yeah, never say never, but when I got out of my tent at 3:30 in the morning, I could see that the skies were flat white. So I opted to go back to bed, get a couple more hours sleep, which will give me more energy for the day ahead.
Ready to sail into the wind, heading west to find my reason, longing for something greater than this, and I'm ripe with anticipation. Yeah, I have a good feeling, staring at the starry ceiling, a dream in my heart. Yeah, this is just the start. My suitcase is packed and I'm wheeling.
So just over my shoulder is the island of 𝘧𝘧𝘪𝘭𝘪𝘯𝘬. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And that is the westernmost point of the UK. Now, I was going to hike down to there. However, this is as far as I'm going to go for a couple of reasons. One, I think there might be a beautiful shot here, somewhere around here. There's got to be, man. It's absolutely jaw-dropping. Second reason is, I don't know when my boat is going to leave. Everything's based on the weather. I know that bad weather is moving in. Now, yesterday when I arrived, the boat departed at 3 o'clock, okay? So assuming that it's going to depart today at 3 o'clock, I need to be back at camp for 1 o'clock to get packed up, register with the ranger, let them know that I'm back, because every time you come out hiking, you have to fill in like a hiker's log, where you're going, what route you're taking, when you plan to be back. So I said I'd be back at about 1 o'clock. What I don't want is it to get to 2 o'clock and I'm not back and they come and send a search party. That wouldn't be good. Anyway, I'm going to have a look around here, see if we can find a final composition for what has been an amazing 24 hours here on St Kilda. So for a final image here on the island, I'm really pleased with this. My widest lens on this Nikon is the 24-120, so 24mm is not wide enough to get the grandeur of what I'm looking at here. So I'm doing a pano, and then that way it gives me the illusion of having a much wider lens. And I can pretty much choose how wide I go with that. So as usual, I overshoot, and then I can go in and crop in later. But this scene is just beautiful, and I think it's going to come across quite dramatic in the final image. The weather's moving in, I can see it, I can feel the change in the air. So I'm going to pack up, and I've got a long walk back to camp, check in with the ranger, and then it'll be time to head back to the mainland. man, I wish I was going back on that helicopter. Don't know if I can handle another boat ride. Oh. Anyway, good news is I can see that my boat is down in the bay. So I'm guessing all is normal and we're not going to miss it. I was worried for a second. Had these irrational thoughts that the boat was going to be away by 12 o'clock and I'd miss it. But, yeah. Looks like we're okay.
So that concludes my trip to St Kilda. Now, would I recommend this to other landscape photographers out there? Yes and no. For me, unfortunately, the value for money is simply not there. It's an expensive trip and it comes with a lot of risk. A risk that your trip will get cut short, like mine, or that it may be cancelled altogether. Now, if money and time is not an issue for you, then yes, this is a beautiful experience and certainly a place that you should come and see. However, if you have limited holiday days per year and a limited budget, well, the money spent on this trip could have been far better spent elsewhere.